Hey flower buds, and welcome to another episode of Mindful Monday. It's only when I start to talk or hit the record button that this leaf blower keeps going off, or like a car drives by or a plane goes overhead. So that is the fun of doing outside video. Today I want to talk to you about grief and mourning. I really want to dig into how we can process this grief, whether it be with a loved one or with an opportunity or a job or relationship, because when we process that grief in a way that's effective, in a way that actually heals us and allows us to move forward, that is when we're able to continue moving through the cycles of life. It's not just the big one that happens, right? Our timeline of birth, life, death. It is also smaller timelines that take place in between those. Now, the way that I'm sharing this process came from me kind of watching what happened when I lost my loved ones. Then I kind of opened my eyes to how often this happened, just because the second one, I had already been through the process once and kind of had the ability to step back a little bit. Whew. Yeah, it's gonna take me a second because thinking of being in that state even brings a lot back. I will tell you, obviously it's not something that you ever really get over. It's not what I'm asking you to do. I still tear up when I think about those people. They were such huge influences. I hope that by watching this, you get a sense of what it's like to process that in a way that's healthy and in a way that can amplify and exalt what's within you, and also go on to, let their greatness live on through you. So I think first there's a very, very important step of just looking at where you are. A lot of the time with grief, we really shrink back, we recoil, and we don't like to deal with it because it's extremely painful. Like, that is a kind of hurt that, you can't really edge away from. There's no way to hide it other than numbing, and that's what a lot of us tend to do. But when you lean in and you actually start to look at what you have, you'll find that you have, a value of time, a value of the people that you love, and, the things around you. Right after I lost my cousin a few years ago, my family went on a vacation and we came up on the ocean in California. It was the first time I looked at it and felt so small. There was so much that this world had to offer me. There was so much to experience, and it could be gone like that. So that value that I had was actually really great, and it was something that I could lean into and say, okay, this event was horrible, but it allowed me to really see what I have and really appreciate that, right? And even if you haven't lost someone, losing an opportunity or a relationship, you can say, wow, I had the, brief moment of falling in love, or, at least experiencing the things that happened in that relationship. And you can say, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for that. That was so valuable. Along with that replaced value of time and of love and of people and of places, you can also have this realization of self. Seeing your mortality doesn't have to be this big, fearful thing. It can actually be something in which you realize that time is limited. You have so much to give, so much to experience. And then, when you wake up in the morning, you can really start to take hold of every single moment you have. There is a grieving process, and I'm not saying oh, you can't be mad, sad, or whatever you go through. It takes time. With that time, there's a processing that happens. And when you're able to really look at each day and say, you know what, this moment is really, really important. And I'm gonna feel through it, and I'm going to do one thing today, one thing that I wanna do before it's my last day. As ambition, it makes you really want to seize everything that you're doing and go into a place where you're really, really taking hold of every opportunity you have. The next part of it obviously will be that expression piece. Once you've really dug in and done the self-work, it's time to also billow it out. And that's the most important part, I think, of any kind of mourning. We don't talk about death because it's one of those things that we are taught as a society to kind of brush off under the rug in a corner, right? When people get old and they start dying, what do? We ship them off to an old folks home so we don't have to watch that. Subconsciously, it's telling us it's not okay, it's not natural, and it's painful, right? Don't look there. But when we really lean in and have that expression, we get this sense of moving out the emotions that can really overtake us. You get some really amazing things that happen when you do that. You can express verbally, right? You can talk, because having conversations about the memories of those people that are no longer with us is so beautiful. That's how we go on to keep them alive, you know? And of course there's songs and poems. So all of those are great ways to really open up and verbally express yourself. The second way is nonverbal. Of course, you can create something, you can walk, you can pray, you can do some form of self-care, right? For me, when my cousin passed, I used to go get her favorite food. Remembering could come back and I could sort of feel, like I was connected to her still. When my grandfather passed here recently, I wore overalls and really just did some reflection on, his work ethic, which really, really had an influence on me when I was younger. So like little things like that make you feel close to that person, if it's a person. When you have, lost opportunities and relationships, it's all the same. That form of expression allows you to work through. There is like a little bit of awkwardness that happens because it is a vulnerable piece of the whole process of it. Just because expression is not something that's widely recognized yet. But when you stand up and either speak your truth of what you're going through or, have the ability to create something beautiful out of it, you're gonna see that that little awkward stage right before is no issue at all. You're expressing yourself, you're moving through it, your emotions are evolving. It's important to remember that grief because whether it be from rejection or missed opportunities, past relationships, or someone dying, it's something that once you see yourself go through the suffering and detachment from something that you really, really loved or wanted, it's something that you can start to cycle into every part of your day. With that first person I lost, it was extremely hard. It taught me that you can really allow yourself to grow from something that is horrible experience. You can allow yourself to feel through things. You're not going to blow up. You're not going to, offend anybody with expressing yourself. It taught me that my days are limited and that opportunities are everywhere. That's where I realized that I seem to have the same tendencies when I get rejected from something or when an opportunity is lost or all those things. So it's really interesting. You get this wider perspective, this broader sense of being, and it really gives you the ability to harness every day. So if you take anything away from this video, my hope is that any time that something is lost, whether it be a life, whether it be, an opportunity, a relationship, whatever it is, that you really look into it, lean into it, and find joy in the morning. Because there is. You can see things so broadly, you can feel things so deeply, and you can find what it is that propels you forward. Always and of course, honor your feelings and where you're at, and really take a look inside to see what's going on, and then amplify that in your life and everything you do. Thank you for being here and for watching. Of course, you are welcome to continue blooming with me by subscribing to this channel as well as the podcasts. And you can find me on social media so that we can continue to connect even when I'm not making these videos. I told you about the people driving by, right? So thank you, thank you, thank you and I'll see you next time here in the garden.